Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Meadsy69 and welcome back to another top 5 episode. Today we're going to be looking at the top 5 tech tree tanks that need a buff, and this was requested from a patron of mine. That was Ben the gaming tanker, and he has requested this video, and as most or pretty much all of my patrons, they all get requested a video when they sign up, and this was his request. So the top 5 tech tree tanks that I think need a buff. Coming in at number 5 is the T110E4. Now the T110, there's not much wrong with this tank. It can still perform really well, in fact, but for me it's just there's so many tanks now in tier 10 that have been buffed. All the mediums, all the heavies are being buffed, the E3 got buffed, and this has just been sort of left alone, and I just think it doesn't need a big buff. It really doesn't need a big buff. I think all it needs is just that hatch. Just that hatch, a little bit of buff, and I don't want it to be the kind of hatch the E3 has got, because the E3's hatch is super troll, and it's almost impossible unless you get it just right. It's almost impossible to penetrate that E3's hatch. Whereas the E4, anything you can't hold down because of that big hatch. You can't really side scrape because your tracks are sort of really weak. Your hull's really weak as well. So the armor profile, I mean, we bounced 560, don't get me wrong, we bounced 560 from the missile this game, but you're not going to bounce too often. You can't rely on the bounces, and you can't use this tank how it should be used. I mean, it's a TD, but it shouldn't be used as a TD. It's more of a heavy tank, and you want to be at the front line dealing that big 600 plus alpha to the tanks that come around, and that is how I play it. I never camp in this tank. I play it as a heavy. It is basically a heavy, and for me, just the hatch is really too weak. Next up, we have the VK4502A. Now, I know that this tank was buffed not long ago, but playing it is, there's not much wrong with it. There isn't too much wrong with it, but it's boring. There's no reason to play it. The armor, I mean, the armor's nothing really. The gun is okay. It's just there's not really too many reasons to play this tank, like none at all. Why would you play the VK when you can go play a Tiger II, for instance? There's nothing special about it. I mean, we're going to bounce a shot from the T49, but he literally, at that angle, he shot my front plate at that angle. That's pretty much an auto bounce zone. No one's going to pen that. But other than that, the armor profile isn't so great. The speed's quite nice. I do understand. I do get that the speed's quite nice. The gun, I mean, there's not too much wrong with the gun, but for me it needs something, maybe better frontal armor, not as much as the Tiger II, because the Tiger II is pretty insane at the moment. It just needs something. It needs something for me to want to play it. I mean, I like this with tech tree tanks, and Wargaming, I think, need to do more of it. There's not many tech tree tanks out there other than tier 9 and tier 10 where you just want to play for fun. I mean, tier 8 and below, it's premium tanks. It's all premium tanks. So they need to buff these tech tree tanks so people just want to play them. Not just to grind, just to play because they're fun tanks. And here's another one, the AT-15. For me, this tank, when I first started Blitz, this tank was all about the armor. It was all about the armor. No one could pen it. No one knew how to deal with it unless they get to the side of it or get behind it. Now's not the case. I mean, the hatch is weak. The front plate's even weak. If you're going to have such a weak hatch, I mean, give it more front plate armor. Give it more front plate armor. The reload is really good. The accuracy, as you're going to see here against this Super Persian, is really good, and it has great DPM. But for me, it's just not scary enough. And a tank that was once known to be the armor and the whole line was the same. The whole line is pretty much the same. The Tortoise is another one where people feared the Tortoise because it just had such strong armor. Now, I think it's more the fact that people know how to switch to gold. A lot more people use the gold ammo or the gold pramo, the credits, more nowadays than back when I first started. But I think the AT-15 definitely needs a little buff on the armor side. Next up, we have the Panther II. Now, I do think that this needs a buff. Again, like all the others, you can still carry, like, you can't carry as often, but anyone can carry. Doesn't matter what tank you're in, whether it be a crap tank, anyone has the possibility to carry. It all depends on the team, all depends on your skill level. But this tank is another one. It's the Panther II. Now, the Panther is... This reminds me of the E4 situation, where the tier 9 on the E4, the T30, is such an amazing tank. You enjoy playing that tank, and people love the T30 because it is a great tank. Then they get the E4, and it's just like, why did I buy this? Like, when I could just play the T30. This now is the exact same. There is no reason to buy the Panther II if you've got a Panther. The tier 7 version. 1, you're going to see tier 6s instead of tier 9. And 2, the armor profile now on the Panther 1 is absolutely insane. Where this is another tank that's just been left out to dry, and it's not been nerfed, it's not been buffed, it's just been left. And with all the power creep at the moment in tier 8, especially with all these premiums, the Progetto, the Mod 1, the Type 59, the AMX CDC, the Rev, all of these, like, these are all better than the Panther II. The Panther II, the armor profile is not good. The penetration's okay, don't get me wrong. The DPM's okay. Speed is okay. But there's just no oomph in it. There's nothing that makes me want to play this tank, and it should be. It's a Panther. It's a Panther II. It should be a good tank. And I like the buff for the Panther, but I just didn't really see... The Panther 1 has always been better than the Panther 2 anyway. So why not leave the Panther 1 as it was and give the same armor profile to the Panther 2 instead? That would make it so much better. Because the Panther 1 has always been a good tank. It really has been always a good tank. Whereas this has never been. You get the Panther, you buy the Panther 2, and you're left disappointing because it's boring. There's many other mediums to play that I would definitely pick over this tank that can carry, that has armor, that has great guns, DPM. This, I just think it needs something. Maybe that armor profile, like the Panther, would do it, and that's it. But this game here is such a disappointment game. I mean, they bring the IS-5 down to a one-shot. And look at the reload, 0.1. He backs up, just about to shoot, and the IS-5 takes him out. And this is what you're going to get a lot of times. It's hard to carry in a Panther 2. But still, Giant, that was a good game. 4,949 damage. So that is the Panther 2 coming in at number 2 that need a buff. 5 tanks in the tech tree that need a buff. Coming in at number 1 is this tank. It's so boring. It's so shit. It needs something. It needs something because this is probably the worst tech tree tank in the entire game. There is just nothing really... I mean, the gun is good. Don't get me wrong, the gun is good. And I'm actually going to use this. I've been meaning to make quite a few videos on the T28. I wanted to make a T28 review. I wanted to make a video... I've just literally made a video with the worst tank in the game, where I was going to make a video, the worst tech tree tank in the game, but I don't think I'm going to do that because I thought this would be a good series, a good episode for good gun, shit tank, because it has got a good gun. It does have a good gun on it, but that's it. That's it. The armor profile, anyone can pen you in the front. I mean, leading up to this, from this tank, after this tank, you get the T95. That's known to be slow. That's known to have shed tons of armor. This is slow, but it doesn't have shed tons of armor. People can just shoot Pramo and no problem at all, where the T95, people can shoot as much Pramo as they like. They're not penning you, but they will pen that hatch of the T95. So I wish this had a little bit more. I mean, it's so slow that you could be HE'd from the side. So you're going to see tier 8, you're in tier 8, you're going to see these tier 7s. There's so many quick tanks in the game. This is just too slow. The armor profile doesn't work. It needs some more armor. That will do. That will do, and a little bit quicker. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it, Ben. Thank you for requesting this video. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.